Hello and welcome back to Men in Hoodies. I'm Brent Lyons.
And I'm Jake Stoop. Let's not waste any time. Hoodie up and let's start the show.
This show will showcase everything Arlington Sports, from football, basketball, to something as successful as cross country. I like that a little better. Men in Hoodies has it all.
Today we'll be talking to some members from the cheerleading team and AHS lacrosse. Before that, let's go to Tiger Life reporter Kaylee Sharp.
Thanks, Jake. Everyone loves a good redemption story. An athlete suffers an injury, grinds through recovery, and comes back stronger than ever. However, some setbacks are too much to overcome. Anna Fletcher overcame her obstacles, but not in the way you would expect.
I'm Avery Cook, and I'm Anna's best friend, and we grew up together. Me and Anna used to cheer together, and we cheered for about 7 years. She was always one of the best on the team and very passionate about cheerleading. It was hard watching Anna go through this because she had to quit the thing she loved the most.
So I started cheerleading when I was 3 years old at Memphis Pride. And then as I grew up, I went to Arlington Elite, and then I cheered for the AYS program, the Arlington Middle program, and then the Arlington High School program through my sophomore year of high school. And I also, during high school, I started Memphis Pride cheerleading again, where I was on their level 6 competitive team. And so I was doing 2 teams my freshman and sophomore year. I think what made me so passionate about doing both teams and just cheering in general was the connections I made with everybody. It really brought me a good support system with friends and my coaches, and I always had somebody to go to and something to do when I just needed to get my mind off of things. And it really just brought a whole community that I'm still close with today. So during my freshman year of high school, I started coming down with a bunch of autoimmune issues. And I also was cheering so much, and so with cheer, and you're in the air, you have a tendency to fall. And I got a few concussions my freshman year, and then my sophomore year, I had really bad concussions. It was probably 3. And that kind of is what started bringing my journey to an end. It just got to the point where I couldn't keep doing it anymore. But I think the hardest part about all of it was having to come to terms with the fact that I was gonna have to leave something that I truly loved. Because at one point I had to realize that for my health and for me, I just needed to do something that was better and more safe instead of just going to cheer every day and trying to push it through and tough it out for all my teammates. And I also didn't want to keep letting them down by having to miss practices for doctor's appointments and all of that. So it was best for me to just step away, and I think having to come to terms with having to not cheer anymore was probably one of the hardest things about it. So during the time I wasn't cheering, I was at a restaurant job and it wasn't really my thing. And I got a call from one of my old coaches asking me if I wanted to come coach AYS. And that was a great opportunity for me because even though I had to leave because I was sick and I just couldn't keep doing it anymore, I still loved the sport. And I wanted to find a way to be active in it, but without having to do the teams and cheer. So getting that phone call was a great opportunity because I got to come back to all the people I loved and do something in a new light. I was still involved in cheerleading and doing all this, but now I was able to teach what I knew instead of having to go to practice and deal with schoolwork and juggle all that. Now I could just sit back and coach the little kids and work at the gym and do all of that. And I think that's what's made it the best part out of this whole journey, because even though I had to walk away from something that I really did love, I still got to come back to it, but just in a different light. So one of my favorite things about my job now is just working with young kids because they make you see the fun things about life. The other day I walked in practice and one of my girls was saying that it was the best day ever, and it was because she was at cheer practice, and that just made me feel really good about what I was doing, because sometimes we all just get too caught up in life and we don't think how kids do, and just being around them and seeing how they're just so happy about every little thing they do really makes you happy as a person. And to watch them grow and learn the cheers and just know that they're having fun while they're doing it, I think that's probably my favorite part of my job now.
Thank you, Kaylee, for that report. We've got some AHS cheerleaders with us in the studio today, Ella Acton and Jordan Soto. It's good to have y'all here. We haven't really covered the cheer team yet, so this should be fun. Ella, first question for you. How did you start?
How did I start? I started cheer when I was 2 years old. I was on the AYS rec team, and then I moved to Arlington Cheer Elite with my mom, and then from there I just did more all-star cheer, and then got into school cheer in middle school.
Yeah, what about you?
So I started when I was in 7th grade, and before I did cheer, I did gymnastics. And I kind of just wanted to switch it up a little bit, so I tried out for the cheer team and made it, and I've been cheering ever since. And like Ella, I started doing all-star cheer, but I started freshman year, and been doing it all throughout high school too.
Yeah.
And I guess a question to kind of go off of that, why do you guys cheer? What makes you still want to do it even as a senior in high school?
It just creates a family aspect. Like, you have those friends that you're going to grow up with forever, and they're always going to be there for you, even in the hard times, and they're the ones that know, even if you're going through something rough, they're there for you.
That's awesome.
I think, like Ella, like it just creates that family bond, and then also I just really enjoy it. I think it's super fun to do, and cheering on the high school is super fun, and it's just, I feel like I'm good at it, so I keep doing it.
Yeah, that's awesome. So we'll start with you, Ella. Obviously, there's the good things and the fun things, but also it can get tough at times, right? It gets really
Yes.
busy. So what would be the hardest part about cheering competitively for you?
The time aspect. You really have to take more time out of your personal life, and you don't get to have much of a personal life. You always are at practice every day, and you just have to be able to focus on your team even when you have other things to do.
How do you balance that?
It's pretty hard, but the way I balance it is I finish all my homework at school, get everything done while I'm at school, because I know I have to go and do some stuff after.
What about you?
I would say the same thing. Time management is a big thing, but like creating a schedule and just running by it and kind of remembering it. Then something else is like maybe you don't get along with someone on the team. You have to try and work through your differences and figure it out, because it's a team sport. You have to work with everybody, so just getting through that.
Yeah, Jordan, this question's more for you. The cheer team's always seemingly been successful. What kind of leadership skills from maybe girls that were on the team that have graduated now, or just from things that you picked up in your long years of doing it, have you tried to incorporate and leading the team this year?
The main thing is always trying my hardest on everything I do. I think that really sets an example for everybody else on the team. They see me doing it, they're going to start working hard.
Yeah, that's good. So Ella, for you, I mean, obviously we've seen the cheer team do some successful things. Y'all have had a couple competitions lately. How have those gone? Kind of run us through that.
They've gone good. We just had regionals this past weekend. So basically we get there a couple hours before to watch JV perform so we can cheer them on. And then we go get ready, go backstage, warm up, and then we perform. And then we go to awards and see how we did. But we did good this weekend, and we're excited for this weekend to go to state.
Yeah, where's that at?
Murfreesboro.
Okay, awesome.
And then more of a question that we all want to know. Lots of people don't consider cheer a sport. What do you guys have to say about why you think cheer is a sport?
Well, I think cheer is a sport because when you look up the definition of sport, and you put physical activity into a sport, and you perform and compete against others. And I think that's the basics of cheer. You are physically active for 2.5 minutes. You have to do tumbling, stunts, jumps, dance within the 2.5 minutes, and you perform and compete against others. And like at nationals, you go against more than 50 people per your division, so it's very intense and very competitive.
And so a lot of people think that cheer is just the sideline, but it's really, like once you get into the competitive aspect and the competition, it's definitely a sport, and it's way more than that. It's a lot harder than a lot of people think it is.
Do you think the sideline would count as a sport?
Absolutely not.
Okay,
No.
I completely agree. So based off that definition, we could call fantasy football a sport.
That's true.
So that means I still play sports at least, yeah. All right, last question. When is nationals? That's when a lot of people like look for as like y'all's final mark. When is that, and what will that hold?
It's in February. So we go to Disney World and we compete, and we start preparing from the very beginning. The whole goal is to be at nationals and to, win, hit, do good. But from regionals, you get your bid for nationals. So it's all leading up to that.
I think so, like you said, nationals is in February, and a lot of people don't realize that our year starts like a month after that. Like we start in, what comes after February? March? So we start getting ready in March, and then just continue all the way up to February, and then it starts over again.
Wow.
Yep.
How did y'all do last year, out of curiosity?
Last year we did pretty
We
good.
did really good, I think.
Yeah.
We did.
And are any of you guys gonna? I don't know how cheering at the next level works, but is that something that y'all are going to pursue?
Yes.
Yes.
I plan to cheer in college.
Awesome.
Me too.
Nice.
Is that scholarship based? How does that work?
It is scholarship based. You get, depending on where you go, you can get money off of it.
That's really cool. Well, thank you to Ellen Jordan for joining us at the desk today. For some more sports news, we send you to AHS Tiger Life reporter Napoleon Richardson.
I'm Napoleon Richardson with What's Up Next. Basketball season is already approaching. Tryouts for boys went down this past Monday and Tuesday. The Tigers look to improve off a 9-18 season. Carl Burrows, RJ White, and Aiden Mosovitz have departed, but seniors Drew Ellis and Mo Nasser look to lead the squad to new heights. The boys play their first game on November 15th at Melrose. Back to the desk.
Arlington has produced many legends in the school's 18-year tenure in sports. Kenny Walker was drafted by the Seahawks, Tate Kolwick drafted by the Angels, and Nathan Hoover is playing ball overseas. One former student is using the skills necessary to play lacrosse in one of his own walks of life. Like our former athletes, this soldier has earned his legendary status.
Well, I played lacrosse my sophomore year, my junior year, and my senior year. And I did it kind of as a last-minute decision. It ended up being one of the best decisions I made during high school.
Jase was our starting goalie for as long as I played, so he was a very valuable asset for our team. And he wasn't just like a really good player, he was also a very good person, so it helped to build up the younger players to keep playing lacrosse and help develop the team.
Favorite memory of starting on the Arlington Lacrosse Team was probably my first win, although it wasn't an actual game. We played in a tournament down in Little Rock, Arkansas. And it was the first time I'd ever started goalie, and first time I'd ever taken a shot from someone that wasn't a teammate or a coach. It was really cold, and I didn't really know what I was doing, but I played all right, and we ended up winning. And at the end of the game, your team, no matter if you win or lose, your team comes out and runs and congratulates the goalie and hugs him, everything. And I remember that my team was really supporting because they knew it was my first time, and being able to have like that little moment was pretty cool.
He's definitely one of the better players that I've ever played with. He's definitely the best goalie I've ever played with, and he was just always a valuable asset for us.
My senior season canceled was a big deal. We start practices in July and August, and so we worked through it all the way through the year. Games start in February, and then obviously COVID hit in March.
I was really disappointed because we had a very good team, and I feel like we could have gone very far, and I just felt sad for all the seniors who had to miss out on their senior year.
In the summer, after I graduated, I joined the Memphis Police Department. I went to the academy for 10 weeks, and I joined what they call the PSD program. It's a program where you could go straight out of high school, you go through half of the police academy, and then you wear body cameras and body armor, and you make the scenes of nonviolent crimes, mainly car crashes, everything ranging from fender benders to fatalities. And I did that for about 10 months. I joined the Marine Corps to boost my resume and give me more skills in my toolbox to further my career in law enforcement / military, and also I feel like the Marine Corps was going to make me a better person and be able to have more success in life dealing with people and being able to be more mature. Marine Corps boot camp is interesting. Probably everybody's seen videos of it and heard stories from it. And most of those are pretty accurate. They don't go as intense on the cameras, I can say. It was a very culture shock experience. It was mentally tough, physically tough, but you kind of just get over it because you know that at the end it'll be worth it, and it'll be worth it to be able to say that you've succeeded at that in life. Been in the Middle East since the middle of July of 2022. We've gotten to do a lot of really good training in other countries, working with other countries' militaries. and it's been a good experience to help other countries, because obviously our military, the training we get is far superior compared to especially Middle Eastern countries. And it's cool to be sort of a mediator between some of these countries, because their governments and their people don't always get along. And so when we're there, nobody really acts up, and it's cool to have good foreign relations between these two countries. Also, being in the Middle East, we've been able to go out in different countries and be a part of their culture and see what that's like in their day-to-day lives, not just military setting. And so that's been pretty cool. My experience playing lacrosse and playing sports in general really benefited me going into the Marine Corps, and even working with the Memphis Police Department. It taught me how to work with people that I might have not really been friends with or interacted with in any other area. And it helped me be able to, like I said, work as a team to get a specific goal done and get a specific task done. And also, learn how to build camaraderie and deal with social problems within a group of people that are the same age.
I'm kind of proud of him because he had always told us that he wanted to do something more than just lacrosse and college. So to see him go and join the Marines and protect our country, it kind of hits home for me.
We're also joined today by two members of the boys lacrosse team, Walter Hill and Cameron Davis. And Walter, I just want to ask you this question. We just got off the Jase documentary, and something that you talked about is how sports are temporary, right? Past high school, not a lot of athletes will play in college. Kind of talk about how that doesn't need to be maybe our main focus.
I mean, so through sports, you can learn a lot of valuable skills to use in your entire life, and you create a lot of long-lasting friendships that really can help carry you once you get past high school and you lose that access to sports.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And then for both of you guys, kind of getting into our actual interview, when does the season officially start, and how does that preseason preparation, what does that kind of look like? Walter, you can start, or Cameron, whoever.
So our official season is during the spring. It starts in January and it goes to about May or April.
And then for preseason, we have been practicing 2 times a week since I believe September 15th, and we will end in 2 or 3 weeks.
Okay.
Speaking of practices, Cameron, what do those typically look like?
So during the spring, the official season, we practice Monday through Friday, and then it's 2 hours each practice. And so we start off with warm-ups, so just passing and throwing, maybe take a lap and do our stretches. And then during each practice, we'll sort of focus on a specific thing. So we might practice dodging or maybe a specific defense type tactic, and then we might even split up and have offense and defense practice their own things.
What about conditioning? Are y'all really into that?
Our coach isn't a fan of forcing us to do that, so he bases it off of how much we condition ourselves before the official season, and then based off of how we are, he'll adapt the conditioning test on that.
He also says that he doesn't like just sitting there and blowing the whistle because it's just really boring.
He said that several times.
I don't blame him. It sounds boring.
Well, lots of people know what lacrosse is, but they don't really know how it works or what it entails. Can you guys just kind of tell me, or one of you guys can tell me, kind of what does lacrosse look like and how does it work?
I've heard that a lot of people see it very similar to, or the rules are very similar to soccer, and just the structure and goal system or point system. But I'd say the biggest difference between that and soccer is you use a stick and you throw the ball, and then you're allowed to whack people whenever.
That's
you feel.
fun.
Yeah, that's the thing that really intrigued me is I could hit people, and that's.
So what differentiated that from hockey?
I don't have to skate.
All right, Walter, this question's for you. How did last season go? And then with last season coming to this year, who did you guys lose?
Last season, it went pretty well. I'm a little disappointed because we didn't make playoffs. We missed by about 1 game. And then this offseason, we lost a large group of seniors, including our entire starting defense, our goalie, and one of our starting attackmen, who just so happened to be second in the entire state for goals.
Wow.
Do you think that'll be a situation where you had those guys leave and it's going to be a struggle, or do you think those new guys coming into the system will actually help the team?
I think it's a little bit of both because we are a very young team, so there's a lot of just growing pains and just stepping stones you have to learn. So I think we'll still be at a high level. It's just going to be a little bit of a step down from what we previously were.
Yeah. So for both of you, Cameron, you start. What needs to improve specifically on the field or off the field that would help y'all do better?
I feel that off the field, we really need to start watching more film specifically because I feel like with any sport, you have to watch how it goes in like fast-paced, professional like D1 leagues just to see what you might need to improve or how to improve. And so like watching maybe Duke or Johns Hopkins or any D1 college team, I feel would help us on the field.
What do you think?
I think it's the same too, but we also need to develop like a chemistry with each other because we're all so like different aged, and we have a lot of like freshmen and underclassmen that aren't very connected with like the upperclassmen, say me or Cam. So we need to just like develop that off-field bond, and it'll help us on the field too.
This question's for both of you guys, and Cam, you can start this one. What would your pitch be to students who want to play lacrosse but haven't maybe came out to try out yet?
I would say just come out because our coach is going to give you everything you need to just practice, and then I feel you're going to figure out if you want to keep playing or not. Like there's a large learning curve, but I'm sure that you're going to figure out if you want to continue or not.
Like he said, just come out and try it. There's been a lot of people that have like been on the fence about whether or not they want to play, and they came out for maybe like a couple weeks, and they found out they loved it, and they're still playing today.
That's how I started freshman year. I was just like, I'll just try it, and then I fell in love with it.
That's awesome. So when can people come out? When are tryouts, or do you even have them?
We actually don't have tryouts. If you come out and you want to play, you're on the team.
Well, that's awesome. Y'all got anything else to add?
No.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us today.
The football team took on the 8-2 Carterville Dragons last week in the final matchup of the season. The Tigers kept the game tied 7-7 into the fourth quarter, but Arlington fell 21-7. The Men in Hoodies crew is very proud of our seniors, and we hope for the best for those planning on playing at the next level. I'm Ayan Hurst-Vasquez. Back to the desk.
It's now time for the Tigers' top three. Let's take a look at the top three highlights from our football game against Houston.
But Kylan Spears is going to be the one to get the action. He's going to make it all the way down close to the first down marker, maybe even past it to give the Tigers a first down. That's behind him. Jonathan Elliott and Rip Pittman try to get him. He's going to get through most people, and why did he not throw it away there? Another fumble by Jay, and that's going to be, oh my goodness,
want to talk about
another tackle. Markham Williams in the backfield.
Talk about a kiss from a rose. Look at that sack. That was beautiful. Like a blossomed rose. A little kiss.
So something we typically do on the Men in Hoodies podcast, which y'all should go check out. We have a fun question to begin the episode. So Brent, would you rather be a good player on a bad team or one of the worst on a championship team?
I don't know, because I know I'm winning if I'm on the championship team, but at the same time, I feel like I'm doing more for the team when I'm the best player, and I kind of have that like leadership role if I'm on a bad team. So I'd probably say bad team just because I feel like I can be more of an influence, and then if we do turn around and become a good team, I could say that it is in a small part because of me. How about you?
That's true. I would probably say the same, although I do know that like if you have a bad team, the locker room vibe is just not fun. Like, it's not fun to be there. It's only really good if y'all are winning games. But in the NBA today, in the NFL, if you're a good player on a bad team, ultimately you are going to get traded. You're going to get put on a better team, like DeAndre Hopkins, we could say. So, you know, that would be my opinion. I think if you're a good player, you're obviously going to go to a better team at some point.
Exactly.
So that's what I would say.
That's perfect. Thanks for joining us on the 4th episode of Men in Hoodies. That's going to do it for us in the sports world.
New episodes will be coming out every 2 weeks. Want more from the Men in Hoodies crew?
Check out the Men in Hoodies podcast for all your national sports needs on Spotify, Apple, and Anchor.
If you would like a Men in Hoodies hoodie, DM our Men in Hoodies Instagram account. Tag will be in the description.
We will see you next time.